Good afternoon. This is Frank Conkling, and this is the ArcGIS workshops. This workshop is going to be focused on an introduction to dashboards. Dashboards are extremely useful, and it's a good way of looking at your data. Let me just preface this in saying that this is an introduction. This is not an in-depth. This is an introduction. How do you create a dashboard? What do you think about when you're doing it, and getting some of the core functionality in there? We're going to go over that. Before we do that, I just want to go and remind everybody, if you're looking for information about what's coming up and what we're going to be doing, you can always go to our website and either look in the events, which has a calendar, which has a listing of not just these workshops, but any place else that we're going to be making any presentations on. For example, tomorrow, I've got a presentation over at the ERISA Survey and GIS Summit, talking about the parcel fabric from a surveyor's perspective. And then on the 17th and 18th of November here, we're actually going to be giving some presentations up at the Seven Hills Regional User Group, which is usually held in Tallahassee, but it's virtual this year. If you're interested, you can go out and look out there. But again, this event page will show you everything that we have scheduled on a calendar. If you're looking for it in a different format, if you go to workshops and events, you actually see a listing of what we're going to be doing. And then in addition to that, we have all of the previous workshops. We have links over to the actual previous workshops that we provided. And if you want, you can actually go and look at them from YouTube, or you can download the high definition recordings of these. It's very useful. And then finally, we do have our Panda Consulting YouTube page. We're getting close to 100 subscribers. If you want to get noticed immediately as soon as we put something up, go ahead and subscribe, and that'll help us. It'll also help us to go and brand this a little bit more. Right now it's pretty generic, but you can find a video of all of our recordings even from last year all the way through here, and look at whatever topics you want. You can comment on them. You can request that we go and make new ones as you want. We actually watch that and we look for comments on there. So let's talk about this workshop also a little bit more. Chris is actually moderating the chat window, and you see he's actually put up a couple links already over to some of these pages for you. So that'll help a little bit. If you have a question, go ahead and put it over in the chat window. Chris will go and interrupt me, and he loves interrupting me, so he'll interrupt me, and we'll see if we can get that answered as quickly as possible, and go from there. All right, so let's talk about a dashboard. Now, a dashboard is a way of digging in and finding information about the data that you have stored. There are a couple requirements. For example, the data that's being looked at must be on one of the either ArcGIS Online or a portal on your enterprise. So it has to be a web service that's being looked at. Matter of fact, it really wants to have a web map set up as far as the symbology and everything. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at a web map that we have set up for one of our clients, in which we go and track requests for us to go and update the data, that sort of thing on here. And so right now this is on ArcGIS Online, and you actually see this is their page. I can go in here and go into the viewer and say that's all right, and it actually will allow me to go and look in at it. I'm really not going to interact with this at all, other than I'm going to use this as the basis for my dashboard. So in order to create a dashboard, the first thing we want to do is go to Web Map, and then down here there is this create a dashboard with the data visualization that are provided in this web map. First thing we'll do is it will ask me for a title of this dashboard. All right, I'm going to use that. I'm also going to put that in as the summary. All right, and it's going to ask me for tags that are there, where it wants me to store it on my ArcGIS Online account. And I'm going to say create a dashboard here. There it is. You've created your first dashboard. No, there's much more to this, but this is in fact a direct copy. It is actually loading in the web map that you have previously prepared into here. So now the question is, okay, so what do you want to know about this data? What are you looking for? So this data, just to let you know, this web map has the county's public land survey system. It has subdivisions, has lots, has tax parcels on there, and it has a layer of feature service on there called requests, maintenance requests. Those are the things that they are looking for us to do. So the first thing I want to do is, well, maybe let's go and create a new indicator. Now, an indicator is going to go and pull and give me some statistics about something. So let's set up an indicator first. And that indicator is going to be against, here's all the layers, the feature services, which are in my web app, but it's going to be against this. All right. And this right now is telling me with this indicator, oh, there's 581 requests to go and modify the data. Well, first thing I want to do is I want to go in here and set a filter and say, I don't care about how many in total there are, but what I want to do is I want to look at the status of those requests and tell me if there's something that I have to do. In this case, tell me the new requests that haven't been completed yet. And then I can move down here. And again, I'm looking at the data. What do I want to know about this? Well, do I want to know the count? Do I want to, do I have something like what's the average of them? I can look at things such as what's the area of those. In this case, I just want the count on them. Notice I can also through here do a conversion. And this is where I'm actually going and dividing something by something else. So for example, if I wanted to know how much it would cost somebody to do these 16, I might go and multiply it times the cost per parcel, that sort of thing. That's what this value conversion is on here. So now that we've got this data set up that is going to reflect how many new requests we have for this web map, let's go down to the indicator and start putting more things in here. Let's put a little bit more information on here. And let's say that this is in fact outstanding requests. All right. And you can see as I'm typing in here, it's actually putting it in here. It's actually typing it in and allowing me to see. Now we can put what is the middle text. So we have top text up on top here. We have middle text here, and then we have bottom text that we can go and import in here and put what this actually means. And you can see as I'm typing this, not very well, but as I'm typing this, it will go and input this onto that indicator. In this case, it's a really simple indicator. I just want to go and put that on there. Let's move down now to general, all right, and say, what's the name of this indicator? Well, we can call this new requests, and you want to put a name on there. Once you wind up with a whole lot of indicators, this will allow you to go and determine which one you're going to be interacting with. And I could do things such as change a color on them, last update text. I can put all sorts of things on here. In this case, this is all I want right now. So from that, it goes and puts on an indicator, and this frame set in which it's being shown is extremely flexible. So I can go in here and I can say, well, let's move these over here. Now I'm going to go and put more underneath that. So I'm not worried yet now because that's still a temporary at my first iteration of this. So first indicator that I have on here, I just want to know how many new requests I have that have to be completed. Next thing I want to do is, well, maybe I want to go and put another indicator on here. And this time I'm going to put a pie chart on. And this pie chart, I'm going to make it again about these requests. And I'm going to tell it again that I want to know whether the status is new. All right. And then I can have a category field of the maintenance type in which it will show me, here's the breakdown of each of these types of parcels. So I have 81% of them are splits. I've got a couple where they want me to refine or fix the parcel boundaries. And I've got a couple of them here where they are changing the numbers on here. Same sort of thing. I can go in here and change the chart. I can put whether or not there's a hover on here. All right. I can change the start angle, whether it starts at 90 degrees and such. I can make all sorts of changes in here. The individual slices, I can change the slices. So maybe a fixed parcel boundary, I want to make it a little bit more like an orange. The change map, these are minimal. Maybe I'll do this. And then the combines, I actually have some combines. These are values out there. And the splits, let's go and make that blue. All right, so you can see I can change this completely. I can change the label on here. All right, and let me go down through here so I can generally do that. Finally, when I get to the general, what's the name of this? I can just call this the breakdown of my charts. I can put a title on here if I want. I'm not going to do this. But I also have in here something that I didn't have before. This indicator is actually an interactive indicator. So I could actually set it up so that when I click on that indicator, it does something. It can filter and only show me those requests that match this criteria. Again, this is going to be very simple at the moment. So I'm just going to leave it at this, and we're going to build on this as we go through. So here's my chart. I say done. It went and put it here in that same place. If I'm looking at this indicator and I move up to the upper left corner and I hover over this, I can drag this indicator and tell it where to put it. In this case, I want to put it at the bottom of this one. So now I have an indicator and I have outstanding requests here, and here's the breakdown of those. While I'm here, for example, I forgot to put some sort of title on there. So if I go over to this indicator and I go down to my configuration, it brings up again, here's this title here. I can go to the chart and tell it whether or not I want any labels on here. The slices, the general breakdown. Let's put a title on here. Types of requests. And again, I can go and bold this up. I can change the font on here, make it a larger font. I can center it on here. So these are the types of things that I can do. And once I'm done making these changes, I can go back over here, and there is my new configuration. So again, this seems very, very easy, and it actually is very, very easy to go put these things together. Believe it or not, the toughest thing is figuring out what you want to pull out of here. Well, this is nice, except maybe I want to go to a specific request. Maybe I want to go to one specific record on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and add a new indicator here, but this indicator is actually going to be a list. in which I want to list the things that match a certain criteria. In this case, I'm going to have, here is my maintenance requests, and here's a list of everything that's on here. And I can go and say, I want to know where the status is equal to new. All right. It's easy enough. Now, this will only show me those requests that have not been completed up to this point. So now that I've set up my indicator, what it's going to display, how many it's going to display, how it's going to sort them, I can go to the list and say, okay, well, here's the maintenance type, which is the actual record. Excuse me, this is the field name, and it's pulling out of there the actual component on here. So it's saying, here is the value that's stored in that field. So let's go in and put on here again, put request, and then I'm going to go and utilize the field called object. And you can see as I'm putting this in and typing this, it's actually showing me what this is. So now on my template, it's going to have, this is the request, and it's going to have the number of that request. It's going to have the type of request that's in here. And if I want, I can also put in here, knowing what my data looks like, I can put in the date of the request. So I can say, okay, when was this thing requested? When was it first put out there? And it will go and give me a list of that request. So in here, I'm going to remove that again. In here, what I'm actually doing is I'm building the string, almost like a label of what's going to be shown on each of these records on here. And I can, again, I can go and say, well, let's go ahead and make that thing bold. Let's make this bold here also. So it goes and looks bold on here. So this is, I could actually put a link here. If there was a value that was stored in one of these fields, I could link it over and hyperlink it over to something else. I can put an image in the bottom of it. I can build a table. Here's the formatting. Here's the formatting. I can remove the formatting that occurs on this. This is where I can introduce the actual fields in my data feature service on here. And here's where I can actually put some code source in here. This is all I'm going to do here. Just going to give it the individual text I need. Go to general. This is my request list. All right. Again, if I want, I can put a title in here. Lists of requests, and you can see up here, it's going to go and put that at the top of this list. All right, underneath here, I can go and put, I'm looking, is there an actual horizontal line? I don't see it. I can put a line in here for this. Again, really simple for formatting on here. You get a chance to go and sort of figure out what you want to be displayed here. And this is all formatting for this element here. Here's where it gets tricky. Well, not tricky, but here's where the actual power or the real strengths of the dashboard is. If I have a list, I can actually have it set up so that when I click on one of these lists, something else happens. And again, for many of these indicators, there is in fact an action associated with each of the values. On that chart one, that if I clicked on that portion of the chart, it could have done a filter against everything in there and given me more information on there. In this case, I'm going to go to action on my list. And I now have the ability to go and say when a selection changes, the first thing I want to do is I want to filter it. So I want to filter the maintenance requests. All right. on here. The next thing I want to do is I want to go and zoom to that maintenance request that's selected. And then finally, I want to go and show a pop-up of that maintenance request that's selected on here. When I click on something, I want it to go and filter that one, zoom to it, and show me the pop-up that appears there. I hit done. Again, it puts the list over here. Let me go and move this now. Now I'm going to go and let's put it here. So I have a list. I have this in here. Let's see if this works. So now if I click on this, oh, it's zoomed over to where I did that request. And then it gave me a pop-up of this. Now this pop-up allows me to go and have a view of what this is, gives me a list of the attributes. That pop-up, by the way, is defined in the web map, not here, but in the web map, and tells me whether or not I have some sort of a scan. In this case, I have an attachment to this request that when I click on it, it will actually go and pop up that attachment for me, so I can see what that request actually is if I want to go and do this. So while I'm enacting it, I can go over here and do that. So let me close this out. Well, let's see if there's another one here. Let's click over here on this one. And again, it's a request to fix a boundary on here. They've gone and provided us with a new survey for that area, showing that there's some additional 20 feet that have to be put in here. In essence, I am done. I've put together something that shows how many requests I'm going to have to take care of, and a list of those requests, and I can zoom down through those lists. And when I click on them, it will go and zoom into them and give me the information, show me what was wrong. In this case, to change a number, they wanted me to change it to this number here instead of the existing one. All right. By the way, this has all the pop-ups that are configured in my web map when I go and put this together. All right, and then down here on the bottom, I have the types of requests. So I have a breakdown of these new requests on here. So the challenge is, what do you want to find out about your data? Let's play around with this a little bit more. Let's see if there's something else that we might want to go and look at. By the way, don't forget to save. Don't forget to save this at all when you're doing this. So Bob is asking, when you work request and mark it done, does it remove it from the list? That's a good question. So Chris, let me ask you to do something. Can you go to this county's maintenance request and take this first request here, this split, open it up, mark it as complete. Don't fill out anything else. Just change the status on there, and then let me know, and I will refresh it so that Bob can see what happens when it gets updated. All right.
Give me 2 seconds here.
Well, I go ahead and save this dashboard. That was request 592, by the way.
Yeah. All right. Refresh it.
Okay. Ah, Bob, that changed from 15 to 16, and 592 is no longer a new status. So yes, it does in fact change it automatically. It's rereading this data live from that feature service. So as things get done, it automatically refreshes itself. Actually, you can set it up so it does automatically refresh on a certain periodic basis. on there. So Chris, go ahead and mark that back just to let you know. All right, so let's see if there's something else that I might be intrigued with. I can go and put a header up. I can put a side panel up here that I can put other things on. I can put a map legend in here, and this will show me what the map legend is. And like anything else, I can go and take that map legend and move it around to go and place it. Let's go make sure that I have that here. I can place it here on the bottom of my maps. It's probably not a great place for it, but I can go in and place it and put other things in here. I also, again, I'm just going to go and remove that one and delete that out of here. Yeah. I also can go and put up here some sort of a serial chart. I can put up a gauge, a list, set of details. I can put up embedded content. That's, now it just comes down to, well, how are you going to go and integrate more elements in here? Let's go and put up another indicator. All right. Let's put up another simple indicator, and it's going to be on this one. And in this case, let's go and look at how many of these requests have been completed. How many have been completed? And the condition is where the completion date is this month. All right. So now what I've done is I've said, okay, show me everything that's been completed, and then further filter it to say only this month and give me the statistics on it. All right. Let me go to my indicator and say, number completed this month. That's all I really care about. Let's put that here. Again, let's go and drag this down to here. All right. So now I have, this is how many new ones I have. This is how many have been done this month. Let's go and put another indicator up. Do the requests, and let's say filter on the status being equal to complete, and the condition where the completion date is this quarter, this year. How many have I done so far this year? All right. Done. Let's go and move it over. Let's go and drag it over to here. So you can see just as very simple structures, how we can go and build up something that automatically will change and automatically, let's go and refresh this again. Let's save this. By the way, make sure you save it before you refresh it, and then let's refresh it. All right, so there's the 16 has been changed back to 16. Thank you, Chris. And how many we've done this month, how many we've done this year. We can do a breakdown of what the overall look like. Again, we can do a serial chart of our maintenance requests, where the category field is the type of maintenance on here. And we can sort it by status is account, split by, that's not going to work. Nope, I don't think we can do this. Let's just do a regular old pie chart on here. Maintenance requests. Again, we want to filter it where the status is complete and completed. The completion date is this year. Year to date, maybe. It's a good one. All right. Why don't I see this year? Year to date. Status equal to here. The completion date is year to date. I don't see anything in here. And the category field, parcel type, there we go. So, and I'll just do real simple here. I can take this and put this inside of here and say, all right. So here is my new requests. Here's my list where I can go and move around to them and have it go and provide me all the information I need for that. As we're going through here. All right, here's the breakdown of the new requests, the number of requests I've completed this month, the number that I've completed since the beginning of the year, and here's the breakdown of those on there. Realistically, I continue to be amazed by how well Esri has put this together. It's no coding. Well, I could get complex and put coding in here. It's really simple to put these things together. So I can do it on a dark theme if I want, instead of a light theme. Depends on who's looking for it. That's here. To here, I can do a light theme. I can change the color of the text as I'm going through here. This is the configuration, what gets selected and such. General, I can have the elements resize themselves. I can allow them to expand. I can even put some URL parameters in here that can do searches and queries on this as we go. That's all I got. It should be this simple, right? Save it. Go and have a URL here. Let's go ahead and close this out. Go back to my contents here. And here's my demo dashboard. And let me just go and view it without editing it. All right. So what questions do we have? Again, this is, Esri has done a really amazing job with this. But you do want to remember that you have to have a web map to go and start as the basis on there. And then it's just as simple as creating this application, determining what you're really looking to see, what you want to pull out, what you want to get some statistics on, and then putting together these individual elements on here. Any questions?
None in the chat right now.
That's, either I did a really good job or people can't wait to go and start and try these things on their own. All right, by the way, just sort of to let you know, don't forget that when I did on the list, I told it to filter and only show that one, not to show them all, so that as I go around, it's going to go and zoom. There's actually one right below here. I told it to filter it on and only show me this one. I could have just said, just go and zoom to it, but I actually told it to filter on the one that I had selected and only show that one that I have selected. So that might be something that you want to go and modify. Again, it's one of these things where it doesn't harm the data. You're just pulling information out of the data. So you can go from there. If there are no questions, I can go ahead and close the workshop, and I'll stick around if anyone wants to go and continue to talk or ask any questions on this, but just wanted to make it a quick one. This is an introduction to dashboards. You can see how quickly you can pull something together. The key, of course, is knowing what your data is and how it's structured and what you want to pull out of it. All right. Thank you all. Stick around. We'll talk more. Thanks for attending, and we hope you enjoyed this workshop. If you have questions, would like some more details about anything we discussed during this workshop, or if you or anyone at your organization would like information about training, support, or ways in which we can help you with your GIS needs, please contact me at frank@pandaconsulting.com or call me at 561-691-3277, and we can discuss how we can help you with your needs.